Okay. Okay.
Oh, this is for
Okay.
me.
Okay. We can add this to the agenda then? Ready to
that's
put it on the
fine.
agenda?
Sure.
Good. All right, that's not a motion, but we'll get there. Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. First thing is approval minutes of August 21st.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of August 21st.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So next is addition to the agenda. I had one fuel oil bids, and second is cell phone coverage map.
Yep. And what was the first one?
Fuel oil bids
Oh,
for the
fuel.
town.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there a second to add those to the agenda?
Second.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Communications, I had one. We received a question from a citizen this morning about what's going on with the septic study committee, and I talked to Todd this afternoon. He said they're planning to have a meeting next week, so he's going to post that the end of this week.
Okay.
It's their regular meeting time, and I think they talked about that at their last meeting, having something in September, so that's what he's planning to have, a meeting of the full committee next
Did he
week.
tell you which day?
It's probably Tuesday at 5 o'clock, has been their
Okay.
traditional thing.
Yep.
Okay, any other communications? Any public comments? Okay. Next is, received a request from Women's Sports Services. They're having a vigil, and they'd like to have it on the Cornwall Town Green. They move it around every year around their service area, and I guess it's Cornwall's turn. I don't remember the last time they did it here, but they have a big service area, so that's not too surprising. So they're having it at 6 o'clock here. They do a candlelight thing, which may or may not be.
How long does it last?
Well, then they have a reception afterwards, so there's probably, what did she say, Joyce? Probably an hour and a half for the whole thing?
Yeah, 6 to 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah, so-
We have a selectmen's meeting
We have a
that
selectmen's
night.
meeting, and so she asked me to come and read a proclamation. So on behalf of the board, I said
Yeah.
I might be able to promise you the rest of the, the other selectmen there, maybe, whatever, so, if
Will
you
they
guys
use the
can't
town
make.
hall also?
Yeah, they have a reception afterwards at the town hall. So they use both places. I don't
Okay.
think, is there a conflict with that? No, they've already signed up for using the hall.
They're fine with that,
Right.
yeah.
So anyway, I think that's.
So that'd be one of those events that if we show up at 7:20, go, wow, this is gonna.
There's a lot of people coming to our selectmen's meeting
Yeah, a lot of
with
people.
candles.
Oh, yeah, don't panic.
Mm.
Well, you better be sure they're not doing a play rehearsal that night.
Yeah,
Well, the play's over.
they'll be over.
Play's,
Play's over. Oh,
or there's another announcement that the town hall players are doing a play 21st, 22nd, 23rd, something
Oh,
like that
okay.
weekend.
Oh,
So
good.
that will be a good event. So anyway, so we said, fine, we support their work.
Sure, sure.
There's an amazing amount of need for the women's support services in this area and in the town, and whatever we can do to help them, we usually do. So anyway,
Good.
right, so that's yeah, we have another meeting before that, so okay, so that's that. The board received a couple of emails from Ginny Potter, who is the chair of the Sidney K Fund. Sidney K left about $20,000 to the town probably 30-40 years ago, and the committee is asking, as they haven't had many requests for the funds, whether the town would consider that folding it into another fund. So as it was given to the town, Barbara said its most appropriate place is in the town endowment. So,
Right, I'd agree with that.
but I think what I'd like to do at this point is just have Pearlie research the what are the proper steps, I assume, because it was accepted and this committee was set up by the town meeting, then the town meeting would have to amend that and make this part of the town endowment, which again spends only its earnings, not its principal. So currently the Sidney K fund, because the interest rates have been so low and they can't invest it as aggressively as the town endowment, they haven't had much interest earnings to give out, so they have dipped into their principal. So if it was part of the town endowment, which presently I think is $46,000, it would increase that and allow the town to spend more on civic projects. So again, we're looking at a town meeting in the fall, so that would probably be an appropriate time to take action on this.
Well, one of the things would be to get the original endowment and have Pearlie look that over to
Right.
verify that that's all within the realm of what we can do. Where is the town endowments funds?
Berkshire Taconic.
So it's pooled with Berkshire
Taconic, so they get more than just general bank interest on their things. Currently, the town gets about $1,500 a year of earnings on $46,000 worth of principal, so we're, whatever that works out to be, it's not bad. It's
3%.
3 or 4% earnings on that, which is better than a CD this time, so that's what we would do, I think. So I'll ask Pearlie to review that and give us a recommendation for the annual town meeting.
Yeah, that seems like the best idea, with some other, out of all the ideas that were sort of
Right.
Circulated there, that does seem like the best approach to it.
Right, because it was left to the town. Okay, so we'll have that as an ongoing issue. Next, we have town highway projects. There's quite a few things going on. We are underway with the roads that have been paved, Allen Road and Ballyhack, and now Jim is working on the edges of those roads, because when you bring it up 4 inches, you have a drop off, so we put rocks or topsoil and seed it down so it doesn't wash off, or there's not a shoulder which can suck in plow trucks and cars and stuff. So we're working on the road edges, but the paving went well on those 2 things. They are moving along with the Smith Place and Gravel Bank Bridge projects. We got the temporary road put in last week. We're still waiting to get one pickup truck moved out of the alleyway, but that apparently is in the works, and we did get all the easements signed, so we have permission to use the 3 properties on our way, making an alternative route up there. So we should be in good shape. And again, when we had our meeting, can't remember if we met after our last meeting, but we had a job site meeting with the Mohawk construction people and the people that are doing our 2 bridges, and they are set to start the 2 bridges, the town's funding, around the middle of September. So that's that
Did
should
they
be
tell
good.
you how long they thought that
It
would
should be a
take?
month the most,
Okay.
because Dan Evans wants to do a bunch of work around his place in the middle of October. So they're pretty confident with that, and they are having a meeting, another job site meeting on Friday at the 7th at 1 o'clock on the sites to go over delivery of the precast concrete units with the crane operator and the concrete delivery companies. So they're going to do a dry run, because it's tight getting a 40-foot truck backed up that road between the buildings, basketball hoop, guy wires,
I would think
trees,
so.
stone walls. So anyway, they're aware of that, but the company seemed to be up to the challenge and are ready to go. So I think we're good on that. Anything else on the projects?
The sifter, grader, no, the
Yep, the
screening.
screener. Yeah, we got all our sand
Right.
screened and big pile of gravel also there, so that has gone back to Torrington. But
Good to get that done before the bridge is out.
correct. And then Mohawk is bringing some gravel they're getting out of, so when they're doing the covered bridge, they had to put in new gravel. They can't reuse the old gravel. So the old gravel, which is as good as the new gravel, is going to our gravel bank. So we will be able to screen that and use it for our projects next year. So if anybody wants some historic gravel, we can. No, we can't sell them gravel. But anyway, so we're working with both companies to try to get these bridges done as quickly as possible.
That works out well for them to have a short haul to.
Right.
To
But I saw their truck, they now even the Mohawk trucks are having to go around. I saw them on Route 4.
Yeah.
So they've got to go all the way around now too. So, but they got a lot of stuff out of there before that happened. So we got the screener out, and they may stockpile. So they have to take some gravel out of the Smith Place Bridge site, and they're going to stockpile that at the firehouse using the land that we bought, that bank there. So then they're going to regrade our parking lot there, take some of the bumps out of it. So
With that gravel?
with that gravel, build it up a little bit. But so anyway, things are busy down in West Cornwall, and we're glad to have the Ben project going. So there might actually be a fourth construction project happening, or a fifth, in West Cornwall this summer.
That's a lot of activity.
It's a lot of activity, and it's good to get it all done. And if we can get it in a concentrated period of time, that's the whole point. Anything else on all those things? Beautification requests. Priscilla had some contact from some citizens about beautifying the village or something.
Yeah, I had from Sandy Finkelkorn and Marnell Stover. And one of them wrote that she'd been traveling north to see museums, etc. And she noticed that in small towns I passed, the fronts of the town halls, post offices, and libraries are well maintained with flowers and shrubs. In short, they are simply charming and lovely to see. The Cornwall post office and town hall are embarrassing. This is a yearly problem. What do people think when they come to our farmers market? I have mentioned the library's exterior to several board members this summer. Who is in charge of beautifying our village? We have a lot to be proud of in Cornwall. We should show it by the way we care for our town. That was Marnell. And then Sandy wrote, I think it would be terrific, Priscilla, I think it would be terrific if you brought up the beautification issue at the Selectmen's meeting. See you at the sale. That was last weekend. I was a volunteer. And so I wrote to them, Sandy, if you do not object, I shall bring up the beautification issue at the next Selectmen's meeting. Now, I don't know who pays for this or how we do it. So that's the question I think that I'm bringing up.
Well, if the town pays for it, there is,
I know we have it nicely mowed.
well, that's interesting. I mean, the short answer to their question is, luckily there is a village improvement society which has been in business a long time, and they actually pay for some of the tree plantings and mowing of Pine Street. They also pay to mow the village green.
Okay.
Town pays to mow Hubbard Field and the field here. So there is a group, and that's their sole purpose, is beautification of Cornwall Village. So I would direct and they have some money. I mean, they bought the benches out here.
Yeah.
So there are projects that have happened, and they've also, I think, might have raised some of the money for the monuments. So there is a group that's sole purpose is improving the village. So I would direct them towards, because it would,
So I should make
Yeah.
contact with them and,
right, I think David Hubbard's involved with that.
okay.
So see what they're up to. I mean, I
Let me know
think
who I
it's,
should contact if you could find out.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks very much, Joyce. Okay.
like anything else, it's a question of who maintains it and who pays to maintain it, and what's the plan. There is, yeah.
So Joyce
There's a
will
lot of
get
different
me.
ideas
Okay.
out there. So,
Well, thank you
and from
very
time
much.
to time, Debbie Bennett has renovated the flower beds out here and done things, landscaping. Town office employees have planted plants from time to time, so it does get done.
You sort of
By
have the, who's got the money,
Who's got the
Right.
and who
money?
are the
I mean,
property
Who's got the
owners,
time
and
and,
who's got the who owns the property
Yeah.
for the permission to be able
Right.
to do it.
you know, basically we're talking about, I think, the front of the library and front here, and maybe the post office too.
Right, well, so I'm
Yeah.
just saying, you have the money pile,
Yeah,
and you have the permission from the owners
yeah.
pile.
Because I know in West Cornwall, Bianca heads up, I think it's Bianca, does the village improvement, and I always see her doing the flowers by the post office, so. I think this is just for the village
Right.
here. Thank you.
So there's a group. Okay, thank you. Pritchard Road update. Karen Nelson and I met with family that owns land on Pritchard Road and Fox Road. It runs in between the two roads. These are old town roads that have that are not currently maintained. And so we had a good meeting with the family, and we came to an agreement that the town would, because these roads have not been discontinued, because there was a subdivision approved along these roads in the 1960s.
1960s.
So this is John Miller, and some of the lots up on Pritchard Road were all part of that subdivision. So, and going down to Day Road. So slowly the town has improved Pritchard Road going up the hill off Route 45 at quite a bit of expense. Where it stops now, there's, following that, you can see where the old roadbed is. There's a very steep section, which Jim Bannikin, the highway foreman, said was very expensive to build up and open up to get the family access to their lot off the Pritchard Road end. Here's Route 45, so that you can go up there. They own 64 feet off Pritchard Road, so you can come in off this way, which is a very steep section. The road currently stops in here. There's 350 feet of area there. The road is sunken down in the roadbed, so you have to build it up. Plus there's ledge outcroppings, which would make it very difficult to drain. So that seemed to be the most expensive way. Plus you'd have to get drainage agreements from the downhill property owners, who already have, we've worked over the years with getting decent drainage around their property. So again, Karen said there's a big watershed. The water wants to go downhill, and whenever you put a road in, that channels the water and makes it all of a sudden a town problem where it was taking care of itself previously. The other way is coming in off the other side of Pritchard Road, which would be a longer way to go, and also fairly expensive because it's below grade at this point.
Is that the other end of Day Road?
This is the end of Pritchard Road. So
Oh.
you go all, Pritchard Road ends up on Flat Rocks Road, and you go up that way, it dead ends at what used to be the Marks house up on the very top. That's as far as it went. So now, the easier way, according to Jim, would be for the town to improve Day Road. It's about 50 feet to get to their land from there. It's flat, and there's a turnaround already here at the end, so it would not be a big deal for us to bring some gravel in to improve that access. There is a pipe, there's a stream that's crossing there from the pond up on neighbor's property. So I said to them, if the town helps you, because I mean we're looking we talked to Pearlie Grimes. He said the town, because they approved the subdivision, has a responsibility to give these people access. For the last 50 years, somebody's been paying taxes on what they thought was a buildable lot. So somehow they have to get to their property off of town road. So if we improved it, it wouldn't take much work on our part to get them a gravel road to that section. It wouldn't be a big expense to plow it. And the town would then get an engineer to see how big a pipe they would need under that and help them get a wetlands permit so they could put the pipe in. The pipe's not super expensive. We could even cost share cost of the pipe. But that gets us out of a huge expense and some pretty upset neighbors on Pritchard Road.
So is the landowner,
The landowner's agreeable to this because
Good.
they're trying to sell it, and the other way would take a lot of time, a lot of expense, a lot of arguments, a lot of proceedings, which they don't really want to go through. They just want to sell their piece.
yep.
Um,
Okay.
And by the same token, access on the high side here would cause the town long-term, forever.
Right, we'd wind up
Right.
paving it eventually.
Yeah.
I mean,
It'd just be a forever issue.
right,
Whereas down here, it's a short issue.
Yep.
Maybe it's an extended issue because we have to help get over
get
the
it
brook.
going.
Is that something that they would want, if they're attempting to sell it?
Right.
Are they going to want this done before they sell it, or they just want to know?
Well,
that
I
we're
told them we probably can extend the road and get a wetlands application going with them or help them with the wetlands thing. Get an engineer to look at the hydraulics this fall.
Now,
regard-
Gordon, is that the last lot that would be involved
Yes,
in
'cause you
any
see-
questions?
You
Here?
see here, this lot here on the corner already has a driveway off 45. So
Oh,
they
okay.
have access off there, plus these are all accessed off Day Road, and these are all accessed off Pritchard Road. Now,
Okay.
the land across the street is owned by Woodbury Mountain LLC.
Oh, that's Buddy.
That might be Buddy, so
I mean, might be Buddy. I
But-
thought it was Buddy.
who knows? Anyway, it's up in the air as far as
Oh.
who they are. But anyway, the other thing I've done is to tell the owners that the neighbors are interested in maybe helping them, maybe buying the top of their lot so this issue gets put to bed. So that's up to them to work something out, but taking opposition into cooperation, they might be able to buy the top of the lot.
This was formerly maybe two lots?
Probably,
One and
yeah.
two?
They combined a bunch of these, yeah.
And is this owner all the way along here?
Yeah, this is the old Louis Marks,
Right.
which used to also be over here. And this was done by Mr. Nash of the Nash Pond fame 50 years ago. Back in the days of Cornwall subdivision. So anyway, with your approval, I'll send this off to Pearlie, and again, maybe we'll write up something, letter of understanding with the owners.
Sounds like a very good idea.
So the
Right.
letter of understanding, just to be clear,
Right,
just to reiterate it, is that the town would create access off from Day Road
right.
to the standard that the town would do for the
Right.
Day Road access.
Probably dirt, just
Yeah,
gravel.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
of course, it's gravel, yes. That's
Yeah.
on the standard gravel road,
Yeah.
not paved. I think the pavement ends back here, doesn't it?
No, it ends right here, ends right at the end.
Oh, it does.
It goes across the brook, because there's a pipe underneath the road. This brook goes under here. So the top of the pipe is paved, and then the turnaround area here.
I think there's still a driveway or two off of that
There's
where
one
it's not
driveway.
paved that go to private homes, right?
There's one driveway here.
No,
No, it's already paved
so
past all the
I've been spending a lot
driveways?
of time up there.
Oh, okay.
And that's been paved.
This has been paved. This is recently paved, because it used to be dirt. Yeah,
Okay,
a
Yeah,
lot of
this was all
complaints.
recently paved.
This is recently, but this has probably been paved in the last 10 years,
okay.
this section.
So to continue on that the road will be upgraded to a Cornwall standard
Right.
gravel road,
Yep,
and then we'll assist in designing,
right, or getting some input as far as how would you cross the brook, because there is a very nice old house foundation here, and there's the remains of the old road that went to the old house right here. Stone foundations, all that stuff. So from a wetland standpoint, this is obviously a road at some point. So as far as impacting wetlands, drainage, water courses, this is much less impact than putting a big road up here with a bunch of ditches that are gonna fill up. We're recycling an old road, reusing,
Okay.
resettling. So,
But our commitment would, we're not in any way committing to do any kind of maintenance of.
no, the road stops right here,
Right.
and we will consider cost sharing the cost of the culvert. Assuming it's, that cost, the share could be a lot or a little, but at least that gets our
Right.
endorsing that this is probably the best way to get to that lot compared to the maintenance issues and the tree cutting and the gravel and stuff that we required to upgrade this old bed.
And presumably there's power down to this point, CLMP power
Yeah.
to that driveway?
Right, not to here, which is another good point.
Right.
So somebody had to spend a lot of money just bringing the power up the hill. Unless they go solar, nice southern location, right there, building the bank. Okay, so, sound good? Very friendly people, all glad to move it forward.
We got 2 projects for the town attorney.
That's right, count it, everybody, yeah. Try to do it right. Okay, so that's Pritchard Road.
So do you need a motion or you just want a consensus that it's okay to go ahead?
Consensus to proceed on pursuing Day Road access to the building lot.
You're advising us of the course you're taking.
Right. Okay. Next, another small road, Hart Hill Road. The owners of the end of Hart Hill Road lot, the Smiths, have advised us that they're going to try to build their garage in the spring, even though they want to do it in the fall. So they would like the town to pursue the discontinuance of that road, so that, again, like a lot of things, we would get our work done so they can get their work done. I don't think there's any real public interest that I'm aware of the town maintaining, possible expense of having to do another 150 feet of a dead-end road. So I have no problem with putting this on the agenda for a fall town meeting. The third project for the town attorney. So we find a point, and we determine the road goes to that point, which is before their house. And we've looked at it with the road foreman, and he said part of the deal there is that we get an improved turnaround than what we have now, having slid backwards out of there.
Would that be all defined by the time we close
Yeah,
it?
I think we would make room. We have to make room for a significant. We'd have a site plan with showing the turnaround at the end of the road.
Right, and
Which
that's
may or
something
may
that
not.
they're working on, I think. aren't they,
Right.
or-
So we'll get back to them and say we want a site plan. We need a site plan with the turnaround for Jim's review.
With grading.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
We went up there to
elevation?
look at the site. We normally plow it with a small truck. So Jim and I went up there with the big truck, and they said, well, we use the small truck. And Jim said, well, the small truck breaks. This is our plan B, so we better be planning for a bigger truck if we need it, which I felt was a good response. So we can make it all work. It's just a question of getting things mapped out.
Now, what's the purpose of the turnaround? Just for the snowplow trucks?
Right, so a snow plow or also a fire truck, or
Yep,
Anybody
okay.
needs to turn around up there, we don't have, because it's again going
Going uphill.
uphill as all Cornwall roads do, so we don't have to back, having slid sideways on that road
Yeah.
myself when I used to plow. It's good to have a nice place where you can just go back and forth, and then drive out as opposed to backing. So that's the point.
Backing up, I guess, is the last resort.
That decreases.
I mean, sometimes you have to back up to do, like
Yeah,
you're
but then
saying.
back all the way up
But,
is,
backing up 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, but backing up, that's gotta be 600-800 feet,
yeah.
maybe longer,
Right,
I would think.
right, not to be done by professionals. So, anyway, we will, so, can we, we've looked at this pretty thoroughly, so I have no problem with making a motion to add this to a town meeting when we get the site plan, after we get site plan.
Second that.
Conditional,
discussion?
conditional on the site plan.
Acceptable site plan.
Right.
Okay. So discussion. So that brings us up to the fall town meeting where we normally review the town report and the 5-year plan. And another thing we need to do is we need to get our annual report needs to be crafted by our next meeting. A wrinkle this year is that according to the auditor who's been working on our books, there is this auditing requirement that the town shows the cost of teacher pensions that the state pays the cost of. So according to the accounting standards, the town has to show how much it's going to spend in the coming, or in the last year, or whatever it is, some year, for teacher pensions, even though by statute, the state pays for it. And you may remember the big battle two years ago or last year on the governor's proposal that the state towns pay part of that. This isn't anything to do with that, but according to the accounting standards, that expense the state pays on our behalf has to be recorded in the town report, even though it's not our money. We just look at it as it goes through our books into the pension checks and the teacher retirement board. So the problem is that apparently the state is having trouble getting accurate numbers by October, in time for the auditor to look at all this, make a report. They're having trouble getting this all done, I guess, in September. So they have to get their reports done, and then our auditor looks at it all, and then puts it into our financial statements, and then goes into our town report. So what I'm getting at is that by town ordinance, the town annual meeting, which the only thing it has to do is every year an annual meeting has to review on that call the town financial statements have to be reviewed by the Board of Financing, presenting them the audit for the previous year to the citizens of the town. And it has to be done in the last quarter of the year. Historically, we've done it the last weekend in October, but Barbara and the auditor feels that may not be possible due to the state's backload of auditing or whatever they're doing.
So
what we're saying is we're probably going to have
this is a problem for all 100.
all towns. And so there's something going on in Sherman right now, which we're going to learn more about what happens in Sherman, because there's two options, which is the towns can estimate that based on last year's and stuff like that, but then you may have to go back and have an edited town financial statement, which would cost you a couple $1,000s. So as exciting as these meetings are, I'd be in favor of us having the meeting in November with the real actual numbers, or even in December, except for Christmas. Because I can't see us putting out a whole town report, and then we wouldn't have to put out a separate town report, but we'd have to have the whole separate financial statement.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding what
It's
you're
just,
telling me.
it took a while to understand this. I still don't
This
completely-
auditor, whoever this auditor,
Auditor
which
is-
is the same one we've used on and off for a couple of years.
Couple of years, yes. They're having
it-
problems.
Is now all of a sudden saying this year, is this a new requirement? Or have
This
they had
isn't-
this requirement?
Apparently this has been a requirement. There's some reference to these things, but apparently the state office that gives her the numbers are saying we won't be able to give you the numbers till later than last year.
And is it in our report from our?
Yes,
It is in our town audit
Previous.
from the previous year.
previous year. And it's nothing to do with the towns paying part of the teacher pensions.
So the issue is that it's always been there. The state just can't deliver us the information in a timely fashion.
Correct.
It's not a question that this is a new requirement
Right.
of some sort. This is not a new requirement to be in the audit.
No.
It's been an every year requirement.
It's fairly, I mean, it's Gatsby. It's the, whatever,
General accounting.
generally acceptable accounting standards, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that was put in for towns had to do that for the last 5 years or something. So that's a requirement. So anyway, so the bottom line is we may not have our annual town meeting until first week or second week in November.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, but I thought everybody would be in favor of having a meeting about the complete town report, not spending extra on auditing and get it done, unfortunately. And it'd be nice to get it done in October, but if we're gonna give ourselves a little more time, we'll do it.
Because it seems foolish to spend an extra $2,000 to redo it because you have to do a short one for the
Right.
meeting and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
the
yeah.
correct
Doesn't
one
make any sense.
2 or 3 weeks
Right,
later
right.
for an additional $2,000.
Mhm.
No.
Okay, good. Well,
Well, I would
that was
say
my instinct.
a key requirement would be to preemptively tell the Chronicle
Right,
and some other places that we normally
Right.
have the
Town
That's
meeting
town
before
meeting.
the end of October.
Right,
And this
usually it's
year
the
we'll
last
have
weekend.
it before the end of November.
right.
right
Yep,
or December.
right.
Well, I have the impression that we can do it in November. We don't.
It's the last quarter, last quarter, so we can do it in December if we have to, but we need to do the,
Okay.
so supposedly they're gonna know more, although Barbara's going to France to do it for 10 days, but we're gonna know more by the end of this month. And
Okay.
I said we're just gonna assume it's gonna happen in November, because we need to have that date in order to set the town meeting in October, so we really don't have that much time to do it, even if we do it in November, because we have to get in the Chronicle by mid-October
Right.
and all that. So I felt it's better to give us some time early. Hi, Karen. She comes, she goes. Any comments? Are you just passing through?
I was just
You
passing,
can't have enough meetings? You came by to say hi?
I just was passing through to see how far you were from
We're pretty far, but we're going through our Hart Hill Road into our town meeting,
Okay.
and then we'll have public comments in a couple of minutes. So anyway, that's where we're at with our town meeting, Hart Hill, and everything else.
So you made the motion to add it at the town meeting, and then you had all this discussion, so we're all.
Right, so we need to vote to add it to the
Town meeting.
town meeting upon receipt of a acceptable site plan.
The annual town meeting when it happens.
Right. To be determined. Okay. Any more on Hart Hill Road?
So everyone's in favor?
Everybody's in favor? Unanimous?
Yes. Aye.
Yankee Institute, there was an interesting report put out, which I sent you all a copy of, that rated towns and cities' financial health, and impressively, Cornwall came in number 2 in Litchfield County, number 3 in the state, so that's good.
I had printed this out.
Right. So, and this changes from year to year, but what, it's sort of similar to reviewing towns' bond ratings in some ways. They look at a few different criteria, but I've given that to the Board of Finance and they're gonna look at it at their next meeting in detail, just to see what outside analysts feel are important as far as the town's financial conditions. I mean, it's nice to be up in the ranks, but what distinguishes a town as far as its debt load, as far as its tax rate, as far as its ability to pay, its collection rate, all these things add up to that, and different groups could rate the towns differently. But what are some of the important things the town is doing correctly? Because we go from year to year, budget to budget, request to request, but overall, when an outside group looks at a town for its financial things, which is very important, what are they looking at? What's important? And again, they had, Winston had a very hard time, and now they're coming out of that. So I mean, they're looking at it every year as far as where it's at. So anyway, just thought it was interesting to be in the news. Didn't even know we were being ranked, and to come in second is pretty good.
Awesome.
Tied with Warren. Okay, so any other thoughts on that? Okay. Next is we have a tax refund. Okay. Tax refund for $149.01. So I'll make a motion we grant that tax refund on recommendation of the tax collector. Overpayment of real estate taxes, that shouldn't affect our rating in the ranks.
If that was a motion, I'll second it.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next we have public comments. Any comments for the two people who just came in?
Happy to report that the Inland Wetland and Water Courses Commission approved both bridge sites, Smith Place and Gravel Lane.
Okay.
All I had to do was give them a telephone number in case there were any complaints.
Right, they like that. Good. And the bridge, the Smith Place Bridge is set to go mid-September still, or we have a firm date?
No, it is set to be cast with concrete on the 10th. It should be ready to travel somewhere about the 17th, but until the contractor is ready for it, the fabricator will hold it in his yard. So we have a meeting scheduled this Friday with the contractor, the fabricator, and the crane operator. We will work out the details of when they feel they'll be ready to move things around. They're not going to remove the bridge until they are ready to replace it.
Good. All right. We did hear today, we got the last easement signed for the road, and the road has been done. So we should be in good shape for that. All right.
So with the crane on the far side, will the bridge pieces be on the near side, or will they also be on the far
They'll
side?
be on the far side also. They're going to, the crane will be in position. First off, there's going to be an excavator in there, and that's going to remove the existing structure. And that's going to be loaded on trucks, and that's going to be hauled out, again, over towards the meat market. And then the bridge seat will be repaired, which is going to hold the new bridge, and the new superstructure, I should say. The new superstructure is going to come in two pieces and be set in place where the crane will pick it up off the truck, swing around, and put it in place. So everything will be done off of Route 128. The only thing on Route 128 is going to be barriers to close the road, so nobody can inadvertently drive in or walk in or ride a bicycle.
Right.
So the road will be closed on the 128 side. It will be open, but subject to being closed by equipment and signs and barriers on the field side.
Right. Okay.
So making progress slowly, surely.
Okay. Good. Anything else on that? Then our two additions were the fuel oil bids. You got a copy of the proposal from the Cornwall Food Co-op, Fuel Co-op, which has a cap price of about $2.55. We did get a quote from Scasco, or now Superior Plus Energy, of $2.83, which is good for 48 hours. The fire department isn't interested in having Bantam supply them.
Is or is not?
Is not, because we ran out 3 times and they wouldn't come, even though the
Okay,
temperature was 45 degrees in the firehouse. So, I think for good reason we should keep that going. So I could ask for some other quotes, La Placa or Lindell's or something, see if we can get some other prices.
And who does the school use?
They go through the Region 1 Consortium, which is East River, I think it's East River out of New Haven.
Is that
I think you have to sign up for that a year ahead of time. They've already gotten their rates back in spring.
Well, it's kind of interesting reading some of the comments as to how things, you know,
Right.
yeah, it does sound like last year's debacle was the perfect storm, literally and figuratively, weather-wise. I mean, it was very cold.
Right, and they took them over,
And
you know.
apparently didn't have enough time to
Right.
consolidate it correctly. And that's what it would appear. And again, I wonder what happened in numerous other places too.
Probably the same,
Right.
yeah. So I'd like to support the fuel co-op, but not at the expense of freezing. The highway department's a little more resilient because we have our emergency, we have our fuel oil, we have a second furnace there that we can burn waste oil. So we have a different way of doing things there.
Did they run out in the
Yeah, they ran out too. So
garage? And how about the town hall?
I don't think we ran out here, did we? But we don't go through the quantities, and we're here more to monitor it.
Well,
so-
it's closed down 3 days a week too.
Right. So I'd be inclined to keep these 2 buildings and the garage on Bantam and look for a good deal for the other ones, for the 2 firehouses. That way we can compare service and show our dissatisfaction with service we got last year. Maybe they'll improve it. What do you think? The only pressure we have is we have to get, we have to take some action, I think, by the 15th of September to be part of the fuel co-op.
And our next meeting is,
Just about then.
Tonight?
so that's
It's like
too
the
late.
15th.
So it has to be decided tonight.
Right.
I don't know, where are oil prices these days?
Oh.
Do you have a quote from Superior?
Yeah, Superior was $2.83,
It's almost
So
30
it's
30 cents.
30 cents
Yeah.
more.
That's what we use.
Now, I forget, there's the floating, the fixed, and then the
Cap,
capped.
right.
I think every year we've done the capped. No, we've done the fixed. We've done the fixed.
Well, actually, we do the cap, because then if it goes down, we win. If it goes down. The fix, you pay $2.55. You pay $2.55 regardless of whether it goes down or not. But then they get all this little thing too, where you got to pay some up front, and
We gotta pay the additional 20 cents a gallon up front.
right.
Is that what we did in the past?
I don't know.
Somehow 209 sticks in my head as last year's
Right. I mean, the prices are up significantly over last year.
Yes. The propane price quoted there is very favorable.
Yeah.
Not that we heat with propane, but
So, I'll review what we've done in the past on this. And then we'll, you like that idea of going with some buildings with one and some buildings with the other? Or not?
that's
I don't think
like,
it's bad to have these guys compete,
It's like diversifying your portfolio.
spreading out the risk. Right, we had no problems, we still got we can also bid out our diesel, we had no problems with running out of diesel from Superior last year, so their service seemed to be superior. So you're spending 10% more, but you're actually getting it when you use it the most.
And Superior now has moved out of Cornwall Bridge.
Right.
They're no longer, there's no service vehicles there
That's
anymore.
right. Winstead.
It's all out of Winston, yeah, I think that's right.
Right.
Or maybe Torrington, maybe there's a hub in Torrington too for service, I'm not sure.
So what I
Maybe
would
that's
do
where the
then,
fuel comes from.
I'd get more quotes for the 2 firehouses for next meeting.
Separate from the
And go with these 3
Separate
buildings
from
for the
the
fuel
fuel
column. Yep,
co-op.
yep.
Diversify our portfolio.
See what happens. Let the best dealer win. Okay? So I'll make that motion that we sign up these buildings for the fuel co-op. And then we will get prices, get some more bids on the price for the firehouses, knowing the department was not satisfied last year. And if we have a good year this year, then maybe they come back.
I'll second that. That's what you want.
Yeah, notice the price of propane is less, so eventually we are gonna probably replace this furnace and the furnace at the firehouse with propane. More efficient. But currently, if we did it, we'd be it would be getting less per gallon. Propane would cost us less than these oil prices.
So is that part of the modification that's going on by moving in the firehouse, in the West
Right.
Cornwall firehouse, when they move the boiler and make all the changes there?
It would go to propane.
There'll be a propane
Yeah,
boiler that's
right,
installed.
and that probably won't go till next heating season because they've got
Right. No,
design issues, but
Yeah.
eventually we'll have gas furnaces.
There's always design issues.
Always. Okay, so I'll make that motion that,
Do you want to say if you want to go with the cap or the fixed?
well, we'll research that some more. The main thing is we'll go with these guys, and it's a bit of a crapshoot I'll find out from Barbara which one we've gone with.
Somehow I remember that it was like 209 plus
But it
the
floated.
20 cents.
Plus the 20 cents, but then if it went down, we won.
I understand that. So
Right.
somehow I think it was 229 last year.
Right,
Um,
yeah,
and now
so,
it's like 255 plus the 20 cents.
right, so, right.
But none of us know whether it's going to go up or down. And if you did, you'd be putting your money.
We will charge a reduced premium of 20 cents per gallon for cap gallons. Does that mean they're taking 20 cents off or they're adding 20 cents?
I think they're adding.
A reduced premium. Okay, plus.
I didn't get that either. The language didn't make any sense. A reduced premium.
Which is actually an add-on. Anyway. So it's less than the $32 of the floating thing. Right. So in other words, but think about that. If they charge us $2.55 plus with the cap price at $2.55 plus 20 cents is up to $2.75. So it's not that much different than Spirit.
Except that if it goes down, we get the gain.
Right.
I think that's the,
That's the difference. Yeah. So likely we're gonna do the cap price, right? Right.
we don't use that much oil to begin with.
No, but it's important to have,
It's
it's important to have a cap. It's important to have oil. Right. So,
That is true.
so we'll go with the cap price for these 3 buildings. For these people, and then we'll work on the firehouses for next meeting. Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
So-
Yes, okay, good. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we have, the dead zones, cell phone dead zone map, as requested by
Cog.
the COG to help Northwest Connect. Look at that, so you've gone on every road.
My husband drove and I sat in the car. We have AT&T cell phone service, which is not probably the best, but
Yeah.
that's what we have. So that's what I was looking at. And what I wrote, for example, Lower River Road, no service. River Road, no service till the dirt road, and then we get 2. When you get to the dirt road just past the O'Neills, you're picking up the pole that's on
Right.
Route 7 up in Sharon.
Yes,
Sharon Goshen Turnpike, no service. In some places it gets as much as 2.
right?
Hart Hill Road, no service. Cream Hill Road, no service. And then 1 and 2. Now, when I say 1, when I try to make a phone call on that phone and it says 1 dot, 9 times out of 10 it tells me my call has failed. So until I get a 2 or a 3, I don't think that I have usable cell phone service. So that's why I did the number, so you would see. And I drove all those roads.
So, do you have a map that actually says we've drawn in where there's actually no service? And where the transition is between no
I
service?
could do that, because I wrote it down. I
I
didn't.
think that'd be great, if you could
Okay,
just
then I'll mark it on this
even
and bring it to you tomorrow.
get a highlighter,
Yep.
and then just to highlight the areas that you found that
Okay.
had nothing.
I can do
um,
that, because I've got my rough notes.
That'd be great, because especially like Cream Hill or Town Street, or,
Yeah.
you know, they're 5 miles
mixed,
long,
yeah.
so it's important to know where that
Okay.
is, so I think you're seeing, and there's slight coverage depending on your provider at Foot Field.
Yes, that's what Richard was telling me earlier.
Right.
Footfield has got some service.
So,
There are people regularly pulled over along there on either side
Yeah.
of the road. Their phone must ring or ding.
Mm-hmm.
right, and what I'll do too is I'll check in with the siting council to see if there's any movement on redoing that tower on Popple Swamp,
Okay?
because if that happened, that would make a
That
big
would make a
difference
big difference.
there.
And then I've made a note to myself that on Saturday, September 22nd, Felicia Jones is going to have a Northwest Connects meeting for the public at the Hunt Library. That's the library in Falls Village.
Yeah.
So I'm going to plan to go to that.
Okay, that's Saturday the
On
22nd?
Saturday, the 22nd, at 11 a.m.
Okay, so you're
at
gonna
the
be
Hunt
on the
Library.
scene.
And I will definitely go to that.
Good. All right, so,
'Cause she's the woman that's heading this
right, Yeah,
northwest
she's
connect
been
up.
here.
Yeah.
And I think she's gone to all the town halls. It would be good if they could do some, when they get, before we get into winter, it'd be good if they could tell us, you know, because they have a grant to develop, to build out some system here. If they could have a community meeting at the high school at night sometimes, so people could, it's like Saturday, you know, is a little tough during the day, but if they do a date, you know, a weeknight meeting
Yeah.
or something,
I'll make
if
that
that's what they're heading
suggestion
towards,
too, yeah.
find out where they're at, but that would be good, so you can tell
Okay.
us about that. Okay, great. So, anything else on mapping? So I know there's big holes out in East Cornwall, up on Route 45, and Cornwall Hollow, big holes. Nothing. So, good. All right, thank you. All right, any other public comments? Going once, going twice? All right, any questions from the press? Any hard questions from the press? Nothing? Okay, good. That's it, other than paying bills.
Thank you.